Hey, welcome everybody to OnPodcast, the podcast for On Microsoft, the only podcast for On Microsoft that talks about Microsoft things on a podcast. There we go. I think we rambled on a bit about that. I
Microsoft and on. That's the most important thing about this
well,
podcast.
we got to start working in podcasts now. Podcast. I think it should be enough SEO right there. I am your co-host Kareem Anderson, and I'm joined by the world's greatest co-host today.
Arif Bacchus.
Yeah, and we are here to obviously talk about Microsoft stuff on this podcast. Again, like two more in there. We have a lot to talk about today, a lot of Windows stuff. So for you Windows fans, we got a lot to talk about. We also have some stuff for Xbox fans as well. I feel like those Venn diagrams kind of overlap. So enjoy those people that sit in the middle.
Yeah, so we're talking about File Explorer finally moving on from Windows 8.1 and getting a bit of a new look. And also Discord, it was trending on Twitter. And everyone was crying. I hope Microsoft does not buy Discord, but it's something that might become a possibility soon. And then we're also talking about Xbox Live as well, which recently got a new name to Xbox Network.
Which might link into our previous story about Discord, but we'll go through the T's and tea leaves in a second.
Of course, we always try to do our wonderful segues, so one way or another, they all fit in with each other.
Exactly. Just one big Microsoft story. After we had the rebranding, we also have our beloved week ahead, but that's your favorite subject. So I'll let you kind of jump into that.
I was so excited to get into week ahead, I
I know.
almost jumped over you. But yeah, for week ahead, we have a couple of reviews coming up. This company named Movo was kind enough to send us their podcasting microphone, which I happen to have right here. So this
That's
review
cool.
is it's like a lot like a Blue Yeti, which I know you yourself use. But
I
I'll
do.
be reviewing it next week, so keep an eye out for that. That's part of week ahead. And then also there's some Microsoft news coming up about the Microsoft campus finally reopening. And then we have another giveaway coming up next week too, because we recently interviewed someone who works at Yubico, which manufactures YubiKey. So if you read our piece, you'll have a chance to win a YubiKey for yourself.
Yeah. And I finally got out my Chromebook review for all of you who were waiting. I know
Oh yeah.
there's probably very few of you, but you guys can go over and check that out. It came out Friday, so it'll probably be featured for a little bit next week. I will be reviewing and putting up my review of the X12 tablet finally. Lenovo's answer to the Surface Pro 7, and there's a lot to say about the two. Spoiler alert, I think one's better than the other. I'm not going to tell you which one, but it might surprise you. And I also have some hardware as well. I got the Vissel, Vessles, uh, portable monitor, super thin,
Nice.
double USB, HDMI direct, 15 point, I don't know, like 6-inch monitor, weighs about, I don't know, a little under a notebook pad. Um, so I will be doing initial impressions on that. And I believe that might be it for
So
hardware this week.
with that said, let's move on to the biggest topic of the week, which a lot of people in the Microsoft community were talking about, which is the Windows 10 File Explorer getting new icons and perhaps, well, I call it a new look, but not everyone will say it's a new look because you still have the same layout and the same design from leftover. But the point is, we have some new icons in the Windows 10 File Explorer, which came in Windows 10 Insider Build 21343 from the dev branch. You can download it right now. And it gives a fresh coat of paint to top level user folders in the File Explorer, such as the desktop, the documents, the downloads, and the pictures folder. And for all you people who like dragging things into the recycle bin, there's also a new recycle bin icon, which has been refreshed in the build. Microsoft promised that this is just the start and there could be more new icons coming soon. I mean, obviously, there are a gazillion Windows 10 icons in Windows 10. So this is just the start, and we saw them in this dev channel build, and there could be more coming soon. And personally, it was exciting for me because usually when you download these builds, there's not much to look forward to. I know we bitch and complain about that every single podcast. And finally, Windows 10 is starting to look very different. where we're getting these new Windows 10 X-esque icons that are new. I personally, I argue that it's moving Windows away from Windows 8.1 and into the modern era. But what are your thoughts on these new icons?
I enjoy them. I like them. I don't know uh, like what UI language they're calling this time around. Like I could at least I knew what Metro was. There was lines and angles, kind of taking after the the subway tracks in Europe, things like that. Um, I think there was like Metro 2.0, which was a variation of the same thing where they added more color. It was everything was just black and white. Now then they started adding more color to everything, and then we did Fluent. I think that was the last and that brought acrylic and drop shadows back and some other things like that. So I don't know what these new icons are labeled as, but personally, I'm all here for it. I love change to a certain extent, but I think, like you said, it's super subtle. Everyone that's going to jump in there and expect to see this like minimalized file explorer might not, especially if you have the little arrow that opens up the ribbon because it's the same old ribbon. I think
Yep,
when Microsoft is able to move past Sanofsky's ribbon into I don't want to necessarily say hamburger menu because people I think the ribbon is actually far superior than the hamburger menu. But if they can start pulling out um, features from the ribbon and then kind of do like what Photoshop does or any other app like that where they allow you to add to the ribbon if you want to, but if they can start off with just like super basic, super minimal uh, uh, design, I think that'll give everyone a refresh. Because I think you and I had a conversation
yeah,
about what can you really change a file explorer because they have 38 plus years of people tying in apps to it and things like that, so you can't really
exactly.
go
Yeah,
breaking
yeah.
it. And so the design is going to be, roughly the same. I know we see all these like renders of like, oh, this is what the file explorer could look like, and you're like, oh, that's amazing. And then you think about all the engineering that has to go into it, and you're like, ah, that's never really going to happen.
It's so
With that being
easy.
said,
It's so easy to like drag and drop a couple of things in Photoshop and say, "Hey, this is my grand idea for Windows 10."
oh
But
yeah.
it's not so easy to change a 0 and a 1 and a 3 around and add a parentheses and quotation marks or change the code to get something done, like change an icon or change a layout.
Well, and then again, like you said, we have to think of the history. Like, what potential things are once you've add those going back, you have to look at old code, even older code, to make sure none of that's overwriting it, and that there's ways for admins to kind of work around it. I mean, it's a whole process, and this is why it'll be interesting to see what they do with Windows 10X and its file explorer because I feel like it's just going to follow a very
Yeah.
similar version of this. And again, splash new icons on. I'm sure everyone's going to love it. But what I wanted to say, and I think we talked about this, is that Microsoft needs to focus how they do design. Even if it's
All right. Yeah.
say they're gonna take the file icon itself and just dedicate a whole team for 3 months to find every instance of the file icon in Windows 10 or Windows in general and change that one thing. Because right now, as beautiful as it is in the File Explorer and all these new files, if you go look at your task bar, the file icon doesn't match any of the file folders in your new
Exactly. Yeah.
file explorer. So I mean, like that's just an easy thing. Like that's right in front of most people have the file explorer pinned to the taskbar or somewhere in the start menu. Um, you should have thought about like, oh, if we're going to change the file icon, what a file folder looks like in the file explorer, let's make sure it's changed everywhere. So again, I don't know how the development works if they need to like do things in sections. Like you are the file explorer team, you are the start menus team, you are the old control panels team. Like I don't know if that's how they break it up, but everyone needs to get together and say, hey, for the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to iterate super slow and make sure that we change every single thing in order and not leave anything behind.
And then this design inconsistency is something that people always complain about Windows. Like, remember when they first brought out the dark mode? I forgot in what Windows 10 update it was, but like it was so inconsistent. I know Laurent, our writer, he wrote a piece about how dark mode in Windows 10 sucks compared to dark mode in Mac OS. And this was many years ago. So having, like you said, having someone who at Microsoft who's just solely in charge of icons and making sure that things are correct all throughout Windows, it would really help out a lot.
Yeah, I mean it's still relatively inconsistent because they're still going with the stark black, abyss black basically in the settings
Yeah,
menu, and then like dark gray in even in their apps in Office, dark gray and some of their other settings. So they need to figure out what they're going to do with the old settings, turn it dark gray, just like everything else in the thing. Maybe use dark gray on the start menu as well. Like, again, they're working. I feel like they're, they're like the cat that chases the red pin. They see somebody else do something cool and they're like, oh, we're going to do that. And it's like, well, you still need to finish doing what you're doing over here too.
Let's just delete the file explorer and only go with a downloads folder like they have in Chrome OS.
No, that's a horrible, horrible idea.
Okay. But you know what is not a horrible idea is for Microsoft to buy Discord,
Oh, there it is.
which I
Segue.
want you to talk about because I know you always get hyped whenever Microsoft wants to buy up these companies.
I do because I see the potential. I like to look at the potential beforehand. I was wrong with Mixer. I was wrong with Windows Phone. I've been wrong plenty. I was wrong with Groove. So please take my enthusiasm with the hugest pile of salt. And I'm actually, is it bullish? Bullish? I'm bearish for the stock people out there on Discord. Our friend Laurent is bullish. And he loves Discord. That's like his thing. He's a gamer, and he sees, he sees the vast
Xbox
potential in the
side of
more,
it.
yeah, Xbox. Sorry, he sees the vast potential in Microsoft's ownership. So just to kind of get some of the details in, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Microsoft is finally officially engaged in exclusive talks. I remember I wrote a piece actually early last week saying that. Discord was basically up for sale. Microsoft was among many of the other big players like Amazon, Google. Um, I don't know if IBM was in there as well. That were potential bidders for this. And that, when asked for a response on the rumors, Microsoft opted not to say anything. And I forget what the name of the actual firm is that's managing this sales process, but they also didn't say anything as well. So all we knew at the time was that Microsoft could potentially be in the running for it. Now, come late Friday, I think it was, we get official word that they're in exclusive talks now. Again, that doesn't mean that they are the only company. I mean, this could be like, one of two potential buyers, just kind of like, Microsoft is in the exclusive area for the Jedi contract, or they're in exclusive talks for TikTok. Like, you could still be negotiating, hammering out numbers while they, court other people. But with that being said, this would be an acquisition of roughly $10 billion. It could, potentially be even higher. So that's huge. It's a huge sell for, or a huge buy for Microsoft. It's a huge sell for Discord, especially. I think 3 years ago they were valued at like 1.7 billion. So this company, I forget the name of it, starts with a Q, came in and they've done a bang up job of formulating this the sales process and getting the value up. Um,
So
let's
where
see.
where would where would Discord fit in at Microsoft? I know we think about the Xbox side because they're already partnered with Discord on Xbox and like bringing I'm not sure if it's gamer tags or whatever it is, but I know that
Gamer tags, yeah.
a lot of people at Microsoft are active on Discord. There's a official Windows 10 Discord and official Xbox Discord and employees and a lot of people in the community at Microsoft are on Discord itself. So where exactly would Discord fit in if Microsoft buys it? Would they keep it separate like they did with LinkedIn, or would they try and merge it together with Windows and Teams or Xbox?
This is where I kind of wanted to run wild. Um, they have a bunch of different avenues to go with. This is what makes this potential sale so enticing. Because usually you see a very cut and dry, like, hey, we bought like Google bought Fitbit. It's like, hey, they need to fix Wear OS. This is, they need to get back into health. They need to get back into wearables. That's the direct through line. With Discord, the one thing I see that they're probably not going to do is combine this at all with Teams. I do believe that Teams Personal was an answer to a demand that they felt like they needed to have a solution for, but it's not. It's subpar. It lacks a lot of features. It's not very industry competitive right now, and I believe Discord will take that on. It will keep the name because people know the name. It actually just makes
Right.
sense. I mean, it's a Discord. You're having a conversation with a friend, with a group of people, friends like that. Um, so I believe it'll be Teams, Enterprise, Discord, everything else. The other thing that they can do is obviously bundle this in with Xbox Game Ultimate Game Pass Super Mega level, whatever it is.
Create a new
And
tier of Xbox that's just for
yeah,
Discord.
well, it'll allow you to, come bundled with your own server, let you kind of manage these things, these communities. It'll be amazing for people who also use Twitch as well to kind of bounce back and forth between content creators as far and consumers as, they can converse with each other. I think, and I heard this conversation with, I think it was Scott Galloway and Kara Swisher on their, is it Pivot podcast? And Scott Galloway was mentioning that part of the other big pool is that just like GitHub, Discord can now become a bridge
Right.
for content creators, especially indie developers, to not only communicate and kind of get feedback directly from their audience to create, games and titles, but potentially sell them through Discord. They can become a marketplace in and amongst itself. And that'll be something again that it'll be big that Sony doesn't have. Like if you are making a 6 hour, role playing game, and you just wanted to like sell for, a few $100,000 or whatever, and you don't have the marketing or the development apparatus behind you, you can use Discord just to come out. It's almost kind of like a what do you call those? Like backer things. Like you can say, hey, meet me on Discord. I'm coming out with a new game. Give me some ideas. This is what I want to do. And that could be something great for Xbox and its community. So that's another avenue for them. And I think those are the two main ones. And this is what gives it its value. Discord also has what I believe is Nitro, which is their paid tier. And
Right.
so, and what another thing that Scott was mentioning was that this would be Microsoft's potential third tier billion-dollar reoccurring revenue source. They have Windows, they have Microsoft 365, and now they'll have Discord slash Xbox. This Discord combination will put Xbox right over the top for that. So, for all of us who kept saying like, oh, Satya is just playing with Xbox, he doesn't really take it seriously, things like that. I think this kind of puts the final exclamation on his commitment towards Xbox and it being Microsoft's entertainment wing. And again, I mentioned this in my piece that it's not going to be, hey, we signed tons of studios to make movies and TV shows. This is the brand, the fun part of it with Microsoft.
And Discord is not like TikTok or Pinterest, which we know they were interested in Pinterest, which has, I think, 442 million active users, and TikTok has 689 million active users. Discord only has 100 million monthly active users, so its user base is quite small when compared to everything else that Microsoft was interested in. Is it something that you think would hold them back from actually wanting to buy it, or is it something that entices them even more? Like if Microsoft buys into Discord and starts promoting it on Xbox and Windows and everything they own, would it help boost Discord itself as a business?
I would say that starting off small is probably ideal for Microsoft, especially in the wake of we have these meetings in Congress right now about um, moderation,
Right. Yeah.
accountability for social
Yeah.
networks. So if, say Microsoft did buy into Pinterest, the way that it kind of regulates um, content on there falls upon them. Discord being this small, they can kind of grow their moderation the same way they did Xbox Live. Like, the community is what you make it, and people kind of mod themselves. And I think people do on average in Discord a really good job. They're arbiters, sort of like the people on Reddit. Like they take their servers very seriously. They're constantly monitoring, and this bodes well for Microsoft. You don't want to pick up a TikTok and have some viral thing, some viral video go by, and it'd be super, unprofessional, semi-rate. It could be a bunch of
Yeah.
different things that Microsoft would now be attached to. This way, they can kind of grow it and say, here's our rules going forward. And as it potentially gets bigger, people know where they stand on this. The other thing I was going to mention is that this has, even though we're talking about the entertainment value of it, I also see, and you're here first, unless someone else said it. This could be Microsoft's Clubhouse. Because Discord, while everyone's in there typing on chat and stuff like it does have really good audio fidelity,
Right.
and a lot of people can host conversations and meetings in real time. And so even though it's 100, I don't know what the number usage is for Clubhouse, but this could be a place where people go that want to continue conversations or podcast or news from Twitch over to the Discord, and they can host their own, meetings, things like that. So it could not be as professional as Teams, at least not professionally associated, but it could be, an app where people are like, hey, I'm gonna go to Discord to like finish having this conversation, finish the stream of thought or whatnot. And so again, that could be another end around where they missed out on TikTok and the youth. They can get them on Discord.
So I know Laurent, he said Discord has the cool factor that Skype lost ages ago. So if Microsoft buys Discord, will it finally make Microsoft the hipster company that everyone wants to support?
No, I think Microsoft has it has a tainted image that it's I don't think is ever going to be repaired. It's just and the way that other companies are kind of laying in wait in their shadow speaks to that. Google kind of came around saying, "Well, we're the Go company." I mean, they are getting a tainted reputation too, but it doesn't fix Microsoft. I think people are always going to associate Microsoft with work, and they lean heavy into that. That's the other issue is that
Right.
Apple, as much as they want to be an enterprise, are always like, "Hey, we're the cool creative people," and Google's like, "We're the super nerdy people," but Microsoft's like, "Hey, we're business first, business only," and every now and then,
Azure and clouds, that's what Microsoft is all about now.
yeah, but I do think that one, I do, if this goes through, expect them to be one of the, if not the rich or the most valued company going into 2022. If this goes through, I think it'll put them over the top for a little bit because it diversifies the portfolio. I mean, Apple has, it's trying to get into services. It's still mainly hardware, but Microsoft's getting into cloud. It's getting into communications. It's still getting into software. And it still has hardware as well. So I can see it being valued by people in the industry. As far as the cool factor, I don't. Again, people are going to say Discord, and if you say, "Oh, Microsoft owns them," it's like, "Oh, that's cool." But I don't think it's going to be like, "Oh, Microsoft's Discord." No, it's no one's ever going to associate it like that.
But something that people do associate Microsoft with is Xbox Live, or well, it's now Xbox Network because Microsoft.
You're like a sniper with these like segues. They're really good.
I got my eyes on segues, so if you want a
Yeah,
segue, I got you guys covered. But
you should just sell
going back, Xbox Network is the new name for Xbox Live. Microsoft did a sort of a rebrand, albeit a quiet rebrand for Xbox Live. It was a rumor going around because Xbox insiders who beta test the Xbox OS, they saw that Xbox Network was replacing Xbox Live all throughout the Xbox OS. And then Microsoft confirmed to The Verge that the branding change was indeed real. And they said, let me just pull up their statement here. They said that Xbox Network will now refer to the underlying Xbox Online service, which was updated in the Microsoft Services Agreement. The update from Xbox Live to Xbox Network is intended to distinguish the underlying service from the Xbox Live Gold memberships. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward statement on the business side, but from the consumer side, I'm kind of confused. Why would you change Xbox Live, which is a name that they've been using since what, 2000 or 2001, over to Xbox Network all of a sudden? Is it a way to suddenly promote like other Xbox things like what is it, XCloud or game streaming or Game Pass? Is it a way to unify their Xbox offerings under one umbrella? What are your thoughts on this switchover? Because we know that Sony's gaming thing is called PlayStation Network, and now we have Xbox Network. So is it about lining up with Sony, or is it about creating more of a new identity for Xbox moving forward?
Um, I would like to believe it's Microsoft understanding how streamlined naming could be. But then again, this is Microsoft who had Windows 10 mobile, like whatever the number was after, like they just pile on names. So, uh, idealistically speaking, this is Xbox Network will serve as, like you said, the umbrella, just like Microsoft 365 serves the umbrella for Windows and Azure and Office. So when you think like you said, xCloud, Game Pass, Xbox Live, which I think will just become part of Game Pass itself. But it's all under the network, and so when the network goes down, which we always complain about, we'll all know it's the one thing. It's not like, oh, is Xbox Live down? Is xCloud down? Is the whole network is down. So maybe that's what they're trying to end around. But I would assume going forward, and this is what I mean by when we mentioned Discord, and if Discord is purchased by Xbox, it'll be part of the Xbox network, and it'll still be Discord, just like Azure's Azure and Office is Office, but under Microsoft 365, it's the umbrella thing that you purchase, the one fee, kind of like Adobe's Photoshop. Like if you're $50, you get everything from Adobe. You sign up for the Xbox network in general. You get the whatever top tiers. You get all of these other things underneath it. So I think they're just trying to uh, put their ducks in a row when it comes to the mini Xbox services and whatever potential future ones are going to be coming out as well.
So also related to that is another thing where Microsoft announced that free-to-play games on Xbox consoles will now be free to play. You won't need Xbox. You will not need Xbox Live Gold or
Imagine that.
Xbox Network to play these free-to-play games. Currently, I think it's Alpha, skip ahead, and Alpha Xbox insiders will no longer need an Xbox Live Gold subscription to play free to play multiplayer games and looking for groups and also accessing party chat. So again, Microsoft is, after they raised the prices on Xbox Live Gold and pissed everyone off and then lowered them again, and now rebranding Xbox Live to Xbox Network, it seems like they're trying to make people happy, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's tough to make anybody in the gaming community happy because they are as fickle as finishing a game. You get their attention for 40 hours and they're on to the next thing. So I do empathize with Phil Spencer and his team about how to please as many gamers as possible. I do think this is an amazing step. This is something that was long overdue. Like it just didn't make sense
Exactly.
to have to have Xbox Live for all of these things. Again, I think this is just a step in towards Ultimate Mega Game Pass edition, where it's an additional, I don't know, $5 to $10 to have a steady network that comes with its own server where you can manage your own Discord when you stream. Other tie-ins. I don't know. I remember we mentioned, was it a year and a half ago, or not even a year ago, about Facebook gaming. Whenever that becomes something, maybe you'll get your own um, part of marketing with that, part of the Xbox network on that as well. You get promoted through that. So, I mean, it's just, they're lining up a lot of great pieces, and I'm hoping soon, whenever they have their gaming digital event, that they start to talk about this stuff. And everyone's wanting to see the games, hear about the games, but there's a huge business behind this that propels all of those games once you get them, and what you can do with them, and how much money you can make from them, or how much money you can spend on them. And that's vital information that they need to talk about. They need to talk about um, what's going to happen. I mean, they have to make money. Xbox Live is big for that, even if it was free to play. So where does that revenue come from now? We need to know. I would think they probably have a plan. They tested out that raising the pricing, that didn't work. So I feel like this lowering the barrier to entry, it has another carrot that's going to drop, and we just don't know what it is yet. But for now, I'm going to play all my free to play games, sans network.
Point taken. You said it first.
You hear that, Phil? Hire us.
All right, and I think that was our last topic, which means it's time for.
The week ahead.
I let you handle it because you have the awesome way of saying it.
Yeah, so we'll start off with Microsoft reopening its campus. I know that they sent out a memo in, I believe it was October, late October-ish, going into early November, saying that they were going to keep the campus closed for the remainder of 2020 and reevaluate where their positions were going into the summer. They also said that no one had to come in the office unless your supervisors, whatever division, required it. But for the most part, most people could work from home. I'm assuming this rollout for work from home, or this partial reopening, will be super minimal, and just testing to see who's willing to come back, probably who's been vaccinated as well. It starts, I think it was a city. Nearby campuses open as early as next week, March 29th. Um, Again, it's by that point, it's been almost a full year, if about a year and a week or so, since everything has been locked down. And with 160,000 employees across the world, it's going to be interesting to see, who gets back in. I'm sure everyone that's been working in like Surface Hardware has probably still been at the office. And now, how do you commingle those people with, designers and engineers, things like that? I'm sure they're going to be having spacing and stuff like that. Fortunately, a lot's changed this last year, especially the doom and gloom that
Yep.
we went through for this winter. So, we're expected to see some sort of drop or dip by like the end of May, going into summer for a lot of these cases as more vaccines get available. So, again, I think this is just Microsoft being early and precautious about getting things back to normal. Maybe they're banking on getting some people in so they can start working the Sun Valley out finally and start
Hopefully.
moving at a faster clip, because 12, or was it 6 different icons once a month is not going to catch them up with full redesign that they need.
Okay. And you have some new hardware that you want to talk about, your fancy monitor, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I mentioned it and I showed it earlier. This is Vessel, Vessles. They reached out to me to test out this 15.6-inch monitor with a matte screen, anti-gloss matte screen. So it's kind of like your ThinkPads or whatever. It's touch as well. They have a non-touch for people who use Macs. Um, it comes with um, I think it's two USBs, a full HDMI, headphone jack as well. So and a really cool like folio casing that's magnetized that kind of wraps on the back of it and allows it to be in sort of a kickstand mode. I used it a little bit on Friday. It's really nice, super clear. But my biggest test for it would have been this time last year when we all started had to work from home. I
Right.
go to the
Yeah.
office now, but I am going to be going to vacation hopefully during the summer with everybody. And my anticipation is to not have to bring my full desktop setup where all kinds of docks and a 27-inch monitor and mouse and key. Like, I want to bring just a Surface in this thing and be able to get everything done. They were also kind enough to get me a uh, what is this? What do you call it? A mount.
Ooh,
So,
fancy.
and yeah, with the little Allen wrench, you can tighten everything. It's super cool. I've used it for my Surface Go just to like watch stuff, which has been pretty awesome. So yeah, I'll be testing that out. And like I said, I'll also have my final review for the X12, which again is I mean, if you can't get your hands on a Surface Pro, this is the next best thing, if not better.
And I have this new microphone which I'm using here. I mean, before
I'm jealous.
I had this like super weird generic like Amazon microphone that I got for like $50 and it broke twice already. But now Movo, which makes photography equipment, they were kind enough. They reached out to me via email and asked if I was interested in reviewing their. Let me just check to make sure I got the name right. The UM700 desktop USB microphone. Now, I know you have a Blue Yeti, and this is meant to
I
take
do.
on. This is meant to take on the Blue Yeti, and its design is pretty nice. There are a lot of dials for different profiles. It has gain controls, a mute button, and volume, so you could plug in your headphones and control your headphone volume and hear yourself speak while you're podcasting. And it's a pretty nice microphone so far. I like it a lot, and I thank them for sending it my way. It's better than that big hell of a microphone that I was using before, and it's pretty compact. It plugs in via micro. Yeah, I believe it's micro USB, and there's a hole to mount it on like a boom if that's something that you want to do. And it's premium, made of metal, and it feels very nice. And it's available for $100 if you want to try it out yourself. But they were kind enough to send it to us for review, and so keep an eye out for that next week. And that said, we promised last week that we were giving away 2 subscriptions to Headspace for 3 months, and we do have our winners. Our first winner is Tanya Ramsey Chandler. You're the first winner, and I will email you the code. So keep an eye out for your email. And then the second winner, her name is Artella. So keep an eye out for an email from me too. Congrats on winning, and we hope you enjoy your 3 months of Headspace, and we hope that it can cool down your mind. So keep an eye out for an email from that. And as usual, that's all from me. But I'll open the floor for you if you have anything else you want to mention.
No, that's it. I want to also congratulate everyone who participated, and the two winners that we have as well. I think it's awesome for people to kind of take serious their mental health. So hopefully this will help with that.
I forgot, like usual, I'm always forgetting stuff, that we're doing another giveaway next week because these
What are these
past
guys trying
two
to be the next Oprah? Just giving away everything over here.
these past 2 weeks, we did two pieces about YubiKey and how YubiKey can be used for consumers and how YubiKey can be used in business to help secure your account with two-factor authentication. And they sent us 4 YubiKeys, and I reviewed 3 of them, but there's a spare one that I did not open that I want to give away to our lucky readers. So keep an eye out for that next week. And as usual, we'll be announcing the winner on next week's podcast. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled on Microsoft.
Yeah, and with that being said, I think that's all we got for today. I think we jam-packed you full of Windows and Xbox stuff, and we're giving away things. So we'd like to thank you for listening this far and being with us today. You can find me if you want to reach out to me on social media at Minehead1 on Twitter. Again, Minehead1. If you reach out to Minehead, tell them to give me the name because I want it.
And you could find me at ABACJourn.
Yeah, and then you could also find any of our articles, our news on giveaways, reviews on podcasts. I mean, on Microsoft, on Twitter. Our podcast stuff is up there as well in the feeds. So if you have any questions, any things that you'd like us to seek out and review as well, or interviews, we'd love to bring some of you guys on. Please reach out there.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everyone, and we hope to see you again soon. Same place, same time.
Yeah, wear a mask, stay safe, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Take care.
Bye.